Hello, this is another one of my videos on the first Baha'i 9-year plan from 1964 to 73, dealing with progress and implementation in the first 2 years of the plan. It comes from an old manuscript of mine, the Universal House of Justice and the Baha'i World 1963-1973. As with previous videos in this series, the main text is Messages from Universal House of Justice 1963-1986. I'll give the link of the details below in the section under the video. There's also an old article I co-wrote with Moojan Momen on the Baha'i phase 1957-1988, which provides a sort of contextual overview. As usual, my apologies for traffic noise in the background during the course of the video. So, the process of implementation. Having set the Baha'is of the world a detailed set of goals for the 9-year plan, the House of Justice then guided them through a process of implementation, reporting on progress made, reminding them of goals that still needed to be achieved, establishing priorities for action, and responding to particular difficulties and opportunities which emerged as time went by. Progress towards the accomplishment of the goals therefore contains an element of flexibility, so that the planning of future activity could be adjusted in response to what had already been achieved. Thus, the judgment of when a particular new National Assembly was ready to be formed depended on the rate of progress that was occurring within the territory in question, and additional goals could be added if circumstances were favourable. I go into more detail in the original manuscript. Again, national assemblies were told that if they experienced any difficulties in the implementation of their specific goals or needed any clarification about the goals, they should contact the House. And there was evidently a continuing process of consultation between the House and the individual national assemblies, as well as between the House of the Cause, and later the councillors, and the national assemblies. In order to provide effective overall direction of the plan, the House needed both effective national spiritual assemblies that did the bulk of the work of implementation, and regular, accurate, and up-to-date information on what was going on in every part of the Baha'i world. One element of planning which the House of Justice favoured was the phasing of goals, national assemblies being instructed that if they had been given what appeared to be a particularly demanding goal, they should consider phasing the task systematically, sending a copy of this internal plan to Haifa when it had been worked out. The House itself came to identify and amend a series of phases in the overall work of the plan. 4 phases from Res 164 to Res 166, Res 166 to 67, October 67, October 67 to Res 169, and Res 169 to Res 173, eventually being referred to. The House issued regular summaries of progress made, mostly in the form of an almost annual Res 1 message addressed to the Baha'is of the world, or a substitute message in some years. These messages reported outstanding achievements over the previous year, identified problems, set immediate goals, notified the Baha'is of forthcoming developments, and invariably praised the work and assistance of the hands of the cause. So let's now turn to the first phase, from Res 1 1964 to Res 1 1966. During the first 2 years of the plan, the House of Justice issued major messages on mass teaching and the need for universal participation, established continental pioneer committees, and an international deputization fund to promote pioneering, and issued the first of its major calls for international pioneers. The Langenhain Temple in Germany was also dedicated for public worship, preparatory work on the Panama Temple project begun, and means found to lighten the workload of the hands of the cause, including the appointment of more auxiliary board members. There was also substantial progress in several aspects of the plan's national goals. Already in May 1964, the House reported 2 cases of almost immediate accomplishment of particular objectives. By Reservoir 1965, the House was able to report that 17 new territories had been opened to the faith and 6 others resettled. A year later, in 1966, it noted that as a result of pioneer moves, 24 additional new territories had been opened to the faith, 4 more resettled, and 93 strengthened. There were also substantial increases in the number of localities in which Baha'is resided, as well as large-scale increases in the number of Baha'is, most notably in India, where the total number of Baha'is exceeded 140,000 by Reservoir 1965. The Reservoir message for 1965 stated that the number of centers where Baha'is resided had increased from over 15,000 at Reservoir 1964 to over 21,000, an increase of almost 6,000 in a single year. Again, by 1966, several of the property goals, as well as those for legal incorporation, official recognition and translation, had already been won. Only 1 new National Assembly had been formed in Brunei, which was supplementary to the plan, but the House felt that sufficient progress had been made for another 9 assemblies to be formed in 1967, which was later raised to 11. Commenting on the situation at Reservoir 1965, the House asserted that the tide of victory which had carried the Baha'is of the world to the World Congress was still rising. The worldwide Baha'i community evidenced 2 conditions, it stated. 1, within the faith, the capacity of the Baha'is to accomplish whatever definite goals were assigned, and 2, an almost universal sense of an impending breakthrough to large-scale conversion. The foundations for great victories were now being laid, and the Baha'is would be able to pursue these with concentration, resolution, and relentlessness as the plan progressed. The majestic process, which had been launched by Shoghi Effendi with the calling of the 10-year crusade in 1953, was gathering momentum. The Baha'i world community had then been widely scattered and obscure, so that posterity might well be awestruck at the way in which what was still a small section of the human race was developing what they termed the very pattern and sinews of world order. This process for the House was divinely propelled and would continue its historic course until it reached its final consummation in the promised kingdom of God on earth. The House also presented the Baha'is with 4 challenging and immediate tasks. 1, the dispatch of 461 international pioneers. 2, to raise the intensity of teaching to a pitch never before attained so as to achieve the vast increase in Baha'i numbers called for in the plan. 3, to acquire as rapidly as possible the remaining property goals of the plan. And 4, to prepare national and local plans for a global proclamation of the faith to the generality of mankind, which would begin in the autumn of 1967. These activities would include the holding of 6 intercontinental conferences. Marking the end of the second year of the plan, at Reservoir 1966, the House lauded the movement of 505 pioneers during the course of the year. This was the largest number of individuals ever to pioneer in a single year. The gratitude and admiration of the entire Baha'i world went out to this noble band of dedicated Baha'is who had responded to the call. The splendid achievements in pioneering and teaching, together with the enthusiastic attention given to the preparation of proclamation plans for 1967, had sealed with success what the House now identified as the first phase of the 9-year plan. A second phase would now begin. So many thanks for listening, and particular thanks to my patrons for their kind support and encouragement. Without them I wouldn't be able to make these videos. Please do like, comment and share on the videos if you should so wish. Subscribe if you want to be notified of future videos. Next week we'll move on to part 2 of this section, dealing with 1966 to 1967. Have a good day.